Hey, what's up? It's Aki. As you can tell by the title of this video, today's video will be different from the rest. As you all know, Bounce Me Up is very close to finishing and the only thing left to do is some polishing and being uploaded in the Play Store. I'm here explaining 10 things I've learned during the development process. I would also give tips that may be helpful to some of you, starting with game development is hard, more so when you create YouTube videos out of it. I'm pretty sure a lot of you know this already, and I'm just gonna say it again. Creating games is hard. The act of programming something to make something move is already a big achievement in itself. I've spent the last 2 months or so coding and spending time in Godot to create my first game, and I can honestly say that it's not easy. You'd have to outsource and search for tutorials out there that fit with the idea you have. At times, and this happened often to me, there won't be a tutorial and you're left out there alone to figure it out yourself. I had to read Godot's documentation about things a fair amount of time just so I could learn how to code specific things. And it's just not about learning how to code things, it's also learning how to code the thing you've learned to be in tune with the idea you want out of the game. It will take a lot of trial and error, it will take a lot of errors, it will take a lot of time in the development stage, but it's well worth it in the end. Creating YouTube videos is hard. Creating videos take a lot of time out from developing your game. I had to plan out a script, I had to screen record videos of specific parts of my game that fit well with the script, and then I had to edit it all out to make a video that is interesting. On average, it takes me around 2 to 4 days to create a video. Disclaimer though, I only spent around 1 to 3 hours per day editing these videos, which makes the average editing time around 2 to 6 hours per video, which is still a lot of time, so it makes YouTube a thing not for everyone. However, if you do enjoy creating videos, I highly suggest you try out creating devlogs as it's really fun despite being stressful at times. And hey, when you do decide to create a YouTube channel, a lot of other developers will be out there to support you. If YouTube is not your thing though, you can try Twitter. A lot of developers use Twitter to post their daily progress, while using hashtags to get a larger audience. If you're enjoying the video so far and would like to see more in the future, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Moving on to my next point, being passionate about game dev is great, but being over passionate about it isn't. Passion is what fuels us to create. It's what fuels us to be creative and work on ourselves. However, having too much passion about something is bad. It tires you and you will just end up getting burnt out. Before you say, oh no, I'm very passionate about game dev, it's impossible for me to get burnt out making games. Let me remind you, I was like that too. I remember a game dev YouTuber, I think it was Vimlark, saying that you should not work on game dev always as it almost always leads to burnout really quickly. I was like, nah, that won't happen to me. I spent most of my days every day learning about game dev for a month straight. For the whole month of June, I would spend most of my days watching courses on Udemy, watching videos on YouTube, creating games on Godot, and creating a YouTube channel to show my videos. For the entirety of my days, if I didn't have school or when I didn't work out, I would just spend time looking at the screen learning about game dev. At first, I was alright. There were no signs of fatigue. Fast forward a month later, and I'm facing the worst burnout ever. I am no longer motivated to work on my game that much. I would often just take a look at Udemy and quickly just exit it without watching any video courses. Right now, I just do not want to think about game dev anymore, and that leads me to my next point. You're gonna lose a lot of motivation during development, and it's okay. There were a lot of days this has happened. I would wake up, think of doing game dev, and schedule to do game dev within the day, and manage to do no game dev by the end of the day. I would spend a lot of my days this July just staring blankly at the screen. I had no motivation to create code nor watch any videos regarding game dev. I would spend a lot of my time playing, lying down, or just doing nothing at all. And the feeling sucked. The feeling of not being able to do anything because I was just plain tired really sucked. I felt guilty. I felt as if I was wasting my time. But let me tell you that it's alright to take breaks. It's alright to not work on game dev if you're not feeling it. The more you force yourself to do it, the more burnt out you'll eventually be in the long run. I won't ponder that much on this topic as it is a big topic in itself. However, there are a lot of videos out there by fellow developers that tackle this topic in detail, so go check them out. Remember to start small. Create small games first before you create bigger games. A lot of developers cannot stress this enough. It is best to create smaller games first before you budge in creating your dream game. Coding is hard. Learning a game engine is hard. It is best to create smaller games to get a feel for the coding and the game engine. This will only allow you to have an easier time when you do decide to budge in making your dream games. Not only that, but it will also allow you to create more optimized code that will only boost performance of your games. And that's the reason why I made Bounce Me Up as my first game. It's similar to that of Flappy Bird, basic mechanics, simple coding, and just a way for me to get a feel for GDScript and Godot. In tune with this, estimate the time it will take to develop and finish the game. Have a rough estimate of what date you'll be able to finish it. Once you have this in mind, go ahead and double that amount of time. If you feel like you'll be able to finish the game in around a month, go ahead and make it 2 months. Because usually, when we're starting out, we tend to overestimate the work we'll be able to do in a short amount of time. In my own experience, I was a victim of this. I expected myself to finish Bounce Me Up in just a month or so, because I felt like it was a really small game that I'll be able to finish in just a couple of weeks or so. But here I am, roughly 2 months later, and I still have not published it on the Google Play Store. So please, do yourself a favor and prolong the estimated amount of time of the development process. It will save you from a lot of stress and pressure. Because coming from experience, God, I got so pressured to complete the game in a short amount of time that I got tired. Do not spend all your time working on game dev. It gets tiring. Like I said a while ago, I would spend all my days just thinking or working on game dev. It was very unhealthy for me. I would not spend a lot of time with my friends or family, and it just eventually got lonely for me. Remember to spend time on your personal life. Take some time with friends, family, and your loved ones. It will save you from a lot of stress and feelings of loneliness. Socialize with other game developers. There is a huge community of game devs like you, working on small or even bigger games. The community is there to help one another achieve their dreams. I promise you, there are a lot of developers out there willing to help you with your questions or problems you may be having with regards to code. These other developers will also be there for you to talk about anything related to game dev, and even things outside of game dev. Join Discords, comment on other developers' YouTube channels, and interact with them on Twitter. It will make your game dev careers more lively and more joyful. With that said, I want to give a shout out to my fellow YouTuber, DevNugget. He created a program that prefabs your existing scripts or text files, which makes it easier to recreate your existing scripts without having to watch a tutorial on YouTube or having to open another project of yours to copy a script you use for another project. This acts like a database of your existing scripts. It's honestly just a great tool that's useful for developers, so be sure to check it out. The link of the GitHub is down in the description box below. Next thing I learned was to celebrate small achievements. No other person knows the struggle you had to put in order to create or implement a feature you had for a game. However, you know what it took to create something you were meaning to create. You know the struggle you went in order to create that certain thing. Be happy about it. Be happy you were able to create a moving character. Be happy that you were able to fix a certain bug. Be happy for everything you have made for your game. This will motivate you to create more. And lastly, never stop learning. Knowledge is power. Having the knowledge about numerous game design principles, numerous techniques for art and sound design, and the knowledge of how to create a game that's fun will go a long way for you. It will help you create games that are fun, structured, organized, and generally just a great game to play. Sometimes it could even give you ideas of a certain game that you'll eventually want to make. And you don't even have to worry. If you do not have the budget to buy courses in Udemy, Skillshare, and the like, you can just resort to YouTube, as there are a lot of developers giving tips and giving lectures about game design and the like. One amazing YouTube channel I cannot recommend enough is Game Maker's Toolkit. They post a lot of fantastic guides and lectures regarding a lot of topics about creating games, like a lot. And hey, if you do have the budget, I recommend buying courses from Udemy or Skillshare, as they teach a variety of things which are helpful to know in the game dev industry. And that sums up some of the things I've learned. These are only some things I've learned from the development of my first game, Bounce Me Up. I'll probably publish it on the Play Store soon for approval, and I'll just update you all when that happens. Once again, thank you for watching and catch you all on the next one.